Ever since my daughter was in middle school, she gave me the nickname Podge. And ever since then, that's what my daughter calls me. That's what all of her friends call me. We were always super close, and I was really worried when she was going off to college that maybe we'd grow apart a little bit more. So I just sort of racked my brain. What could I do to try to stay as connected to her as possible? So I came up with the idea that every Sunday, I would record a 5-minute episode about the kind of topics we might normally talk about. Send it to her Monday morning, and then she could watch it on her way to campus. I thought it'd be a good idea to resurrect that. They'll be the kinds of topics that I would talk to my now 25-year-old daughter, or the younger version of myself, or people that I mentor, or maybe you.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Coffee with Podge. Today's topic is going to be outcome independence. I genuinely believe that being as outcome independent as humanly possible about almost all aspects of your life, there is one exception which I'll come to in a minute, is the best, most sort of happy, content, satisfying way that you can travel through life. What I mean by outcome independent is that you basically are okay with any outcome from a given situation. So you keep your job, you get fired from your job. You stay in the relationship you're in, you leave the relationship you're in. You keep a friendship, you lose a friendship. You have money, you lose money, whatever it might be. If you know much about Taoism or Zen, things like that, those sorts of philosophies, Buddhism, they basically talk that attachment to things, including the attachment to outcomes, is at the root of all suffering. When you are emotionally invested in a particular outcome, and that outcome doesn't occur, by definition, it creates some level of suffering. So if your goal is to try to be as constructive and positive and happy and content as you travel through life, being outcome independent is super important. Now, the one area where I don't think it's healthy or normal to be outcome independent is when it comes to your children. I just have one daughter, 25-year-old daughter, and when my daughter suffers, I suffer. There is no getting around that. Not that we really disagree or argue about stuff, but if we were to get into it, I would absolutely suffer, and that's a relationship that I'm not outcome independent about at all. But every other relationship I have, every friendship, every family relationship, even my marriage, I am completely outcome independent. And so let me give you a thought experiment exercise that I've gone through myself as a way to demonstrate this. Now, this is going to come across a little bit like sort of robotic or unemotional, and that's not true at all. You can feel a sense of loss or disappointment about an outcome and still be outcome independent. So let me give you an example. I were to come home from a business trip. I'm actually going down to Dallas for a conference, and I came back, and let's say that my wife came to me and said, you know what, Dave, you've been a wonderful husband, and before that, a wonderful boyfriend, and I've really enjoyed our time together, but either I met someone else, or I've just decided you're not for me, or whatever it might be, and I've made the decision that I don't think we should be together anymore. I'm not saying I wouldn't have any questions or we wouldn't have a conversation about it, but if ultimately my wife was happier not being with me or being with someone else, how would it make any sense at all for me to make the choice to remain with her? So let's say that she goes, hey, I met this guy named Frank, and I'd rather be with Frank than be with you. But let's say she would have said, you know what, but because you've been such a loyal and faithful husband and wonderful boyfriend before that, even though I'd rather be with Frank, I'm going to stay with you anyway out of a sense of obligation. Honestly, my feeling would be, don't do me any favors, right? Like my number one criteria in a romantic partner is they have to want to be with me and they want to be my romantic partner. And again, that's not to say that if someone chooses not to be with you, you wouldn't feel sad or a sense of loss or any of that. But there really isn't a logical alternative. And I would argue that that's true about all relationships, whether it be with family, friend, close friends, jobs, you name it. Same thing, let's say that you're a car guy and you have this, new McLaren, Ferrari, whatever it might be, and you are so attached to this car, and that car gets into an accident or someone keys your car or whatever it might be. Now you're super upset about that because you weren't outcome independent. As opposed to, hey, yes, I love the car, but if I don't have the car, that's okay. there's something else that will fill my time. When you feel yourself emotionally invested in a particular outcome, in a particular situation, understand that what comes with that is you open yourself up to suffering in the event that you lose the job, lose the car, lose the money, lose the girl, whatever it might be. Again, the one exception, if something happened to my daughter, I think I'd be a basket case. But everything else, reality is you want to have those things in your life that want to be in your life. And a mentally healthy person doesn't want things, people in their lives that don't want to be in their lives. Anyway, hope you found it useful. See you next week. Coffee with Podge.